Well, a very happy July 10th, 2019, and we've been getting a bunch of rain, which is definitely needed. Now it'll be nice to, agriculture's a funny thing. I was just thinking that, we needed the rain. Last year was so dry, the honey flow was so short-lived. This year, we're getting lots of rain, but now it's to the point almost of where it's cutting into giving the bees good foraging weather. So it's always a balance, but whatever the case, this year honey flow wise has been tremendously better than last year, so thankful for that. Okay, so this is our nuke. Once again, maybe for those of you just watching this video, when we installed this, and I'm trying to remember the date, but anyways, the queen was rejected, and so we definitely got set back a bit, and so that's why we're only 2 deeps and 1 honey super here on July 10th. If you've seen some of my videos from my other yards, I have some that are 6 deeps high already. So yeah, it's like I said, I think next year I'll have I'm gonna have like 2 or 3 hives. 3 probably be a good number that will follow through an entire season, so we have a bit better of a comparison. Anyways, as you can see, they're actively working up in this one. Now, with the way the weather is, it's kind of overcast, it's been raining, it's humid. I'd almost be, if it was just me, I would probably just throw another super on here, simply because, I'm not planning on coming to check it for another week. But let's check in. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, that's gorgeous. Yeah, so anyway, so they're filling those up, and it looks like they're making some space there too, in case the queen wants to come up and lay in that. I've had some people ask me about the usage of queen excluders. It's kind of a personal preference, and depending on what you're wanting to achieve management wise. Yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. Gorgeous. So they still actually have a pretty decent, I would venture to say they probably haven't even started working in these 3 yet. But once again, it's supposed to get hot, it's supposed to be sunny. If I throw another medium on them, that's not going to do any harm, and I'd much rather be on the safe side than anything. Queen excluders. So queen excluders is, definitely a personal preference. I experimented with one of my original bee mentors. Always used to tell me, he was a legend in his own right. He always used to tell me, if you're gonna use blankety blank queen excluders, you gotta make sure that they're only on a single. It's only a single deep, because otherwise they exclude honey. And you may have heard that too, that they're referred to as honey excluders. And it's pretty common that bees will resist. I might have to get a different lid here. Bees will resist going into supers above a 2 deep. When you have 2 deeps and a queen excluder, they'll be more reluctant to go up and work those. Singles definitely is the most effective way, and you will get more honey, because obviously they have to dedicate that single entirely to brood production, and so they're going to be putting the honey above that. But then you also have issues with swarming. You have to make sure you set them up right. I've experimented with using both. No queen excluder. Personal preference. Even if the queen comes up and lays in here, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is simply, especially capped brood, you can actually go extract the honey and put the capped brood back, whether it's in the original colony or in a colony that needs to be strengthened. It's not a It's not a big deal if you get brood in your honey supers. Some people are concerned because obviously, you know, with brood you can have diseases that are transferred then up into the honey supers. But overall, I mean, if you're on top of your bees, you shouldn't have to worry about being afraid that you have disease going up in your honey supers because the queen's laying up there. It's a humid day, and the bees have run out of room, and they're doing that really cool washboarding thing, which I just think is so neat. Now I'm not worried about these swarming, and the reason being is that these are new splits with queen cells. And so I'm not too worried about them going anywhere in the near future. Now we are supposed to get some warmer temperatures, so I may throw on another deep or another box just to give them the room that they need. But I have to admit, you know, when you walk into a yard and you see the bees hanging out like that, but you also know that they're right where they're supposed to be, it's a wonderful feeling to have healthy bees like that. So anyways, yeah, so July 10th, went ahead and added that extra super on there. The owner of these bees has to come over and do some weed eating. Those right there, those are, whoop, there, that, and that row there, those are all splits from some of the stronger hives. If you watched the video from last week where I was breaking down some of the stronger colonies, here's, you know, so this year I dedicated one yard to actually using, going back to our discussion on queen excluders, I dedicated one yard exclusively to single brood chamber with a queen excluder. And here's the thing, is that I know theoretically, I can't remember the exact math, but theoretically something along the lines that a queen can only, if you take into account how many cells are on a deep frame and how many eggs a queen can lay on average a day, and you know the gestation period, that a colony can maintain itself with, I think, 8 deep frames or something like that, as long as they have 8, I don't know, something like that. But what I was running into, and maybe those of you a little more educated on the topic than me can fill me in on this, is that when I was checking the single, it would be wall-to-wall capped brood, which led me to believe that, hey, you know, why am I limiting this queen? And so I went and took the queen excluders off. I wasn't having any issues with swarm cells, but I just felt that I was limiting the queen. So I took the queen excluders off, added a second deep right above the single, came back a week later, the queen had filled that up, or most of it, and took that as a split and then replaced it with another empty deep. And then, of course, you know, with that, my honey supers were above that. So anyways, yeah, I mean, there's so many different management styles. You have to figure out what works for you, and obviously what keeps the bees in good health and in good condition. And that's kind of the ongoing education you receive from doing beekeeping. So anyways, good luck, Godspeed, and we'll catch you again soon.